I always think about AI as people will say, like, do you think it'll replace jobs? I mean, yes, obviously, it will replace a lot of jobs or replace the need for hiring more jobs, maybe that more. But to your point, I always think of it as a sort of revenue accelerator because I can get more out of every person I have versus trying to, like, the ultimate goal, like, not necessarily to have less people, but to get more out of the people I have. So I love that kind of force multiplier concept. Tell me about how Swan fits in this. Are you the creator? Is Swan the creator of all the agents that you're talking about that are automating these workflows? Or are you building an ecosystem of external, internal, and building like a unified network on a shared set of data, full transparency, full alignment across your whole tech stack? How's that working?
Yeah, so first of all, like the autonomous business OS, it's not about just Swan. Okay, we're not trying to
Yeah,
tell
that's what I
everyone
wanted.
you should use Swan for everything that you do in your business. And we actually believe that, the future belongs to these autonomous businesses and they will win because they will use that human AI collaboration at the core. And, we look at solutions emerging right now that are powering these types of businesses. So Manny Medina is building Pay that is trying to kind of like, nail the, billing, space in that OS. You have Elias, founder of Agency, trying to nail that, customer, success part of, that OS. So we're starting to see that super category, being formed,
Mhm.
and these types of companies are built for, businesses that are reimagining these processes from the bottom up. They are built for different types of workflows and for, people that would imagine it just by, using this type of new technology, right? So Swan, the way that it fits, it takes the the GTM part of that new OS, right? So Swan, it's we look at not as an AI SDR.
Yeah.
It's actually more like an AI RevOps. It's like an AI GTM engineer. Okay, that's how we think Swan. So people, when they look at Swan, they actually think it's like Lovable for GTM. If you're familiar with Lovable, it's kind of like an engineer that can write an application for you just by prompting it, right? So Swan gives SMBs the superpower to kind of like turn any go-to-market idea into a live experiment in seconds from prompt to pipeline, basically. So what we want to give these SMBs is, to break the barrier that they have between them and their GTM systems so that they could pour all their knowledge of their market, of their buyers, all their unique insights into these live experiments so they can discover the best motion for them. So Swan
Mm.
is a discovery tool. It's actually a tool that enables SMBs to discover the best motion that works for their business and then scale it in a repeatable way so that they could scale with intelligence, not with headcount.
Gotcha. Okay. So you mentioned you just brought up SMBs. I've read articles about you where you talk about the future is SMBs. Like this is the era for SMBs. I don't know if it's the next decade, 2 decades. I don't know how far out we look these days in tech, but what do you mean by that? Is this because of the empowerment that comes now? The technology has caught up to make SMBs to multiply the impact of an SMB to operate and drive the results of a bigger company, but with fewer resources because they're starting from zero.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm a big believer in SMBs. I don't know what about, 2 decades from now, maybe 2 decades from now, we're all, be enslaved by the AI and no, we won't need any businesses. I'm talking about the next 5 years.
Yeah.
But again, I see two, market forces, right now. So one, um, if headcount is not an advantage in an AI world, it's actually a disadvantage because it kind of like creates a much, bloated shift that it's hard to move and adapt. Then enterprise enterprises lose their only advantage over their SMB competitors, which is that they are big, right?
Yeah.
And if, bloat is a disadvantage, then SMBs could actually, capitalize on that, capitalize on this new technology trend, make the shift into being an autonomous business faster, and then capture more market share on behalf of the biggest dogs in their space. So that's like one, trend that we're seeing. And if you actually connected with the other thing, so large language models are not something new. Okay, so AI has been around for 2 decades. It actually existed from the 70s, but from the last 2 decades, companies like Facebook and Uber has been using the latest AI technologies to power their businesses. What we're seeing right now is the democratization of these AI models. What does it mean? It means that businesses that didn't have access to these types of solutions now have. And who are these businesses? Those are SMBs that either didn't have the resources from a budget perspective or the technical resources in-house to actually deploy these models and use them. So the moment that you have for example, an AI GTM engineer that can enable you to use the most advanced AI capabilities within your SMB and turn your processes from the upside down, you get like an unfair advantage. And so we believe that in the next 5 years, the SMB segment will be the hottest segment to actually work with. You see all the VCs investing in B2B enterprise SaaS. So you'll see them running around following the companies that are, heading and working with the SMB segment, actually.